Okay, close your eyes for a second. Imagine you've just been dropped into a pitch-black cave. We are talking thousands of years before the very first calendar was ever drawn up. You have no clocks, obviously no phone, and there is absolutely no sun in sight. And yet, even in this total, absolute darkness, the early human sitting right next to you knows exactly how long they've been asleep. They know exactly when the sun is going to rise, they know how many days until the herds return, and even when the rains are going to come. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to unpack the absolutely brilliant survival technology of primitive ticking, and we're going to discover exactly how our ancestors decoded time.
Okay, let's dive into this. How exactly did humans track time back then? You know, without numbers, without writing, without any machine ever built to measure a single second, it's super easy to assume they were just, well, guessing, just kind of stumbling through the dark. But we need to completely reframe how we think about ancient timekeeping. It was not primitive guesswork, not even close. This was high-stakes, life-or-death survival technology. They possessed this incredible skill that we've almost completely forgotten how to use today.
Think about our daily lives. We rely so heavily on our digital crutches, right? Smartphones, smartwatches, digital alarms waking us up and telling us exactly where we need to be. Now, contrast that with their brilliant use of raw nature. We're talking dirt, sticks, and the stars above them. And we really have to emphasize the sheer danger of their reality here. Navigating pitch darkness and freezing temperatures without a clock wasn't just, inconvenient. It was incredibly dangerous. Literally, they had to know what time it was just to survive.
Section 1. The sun and the stick.
To track the micro scale of a single day, early humans observed that the sun rising, climbing, and stretching shadows from west to east wasn't just some random thing happening. It was a completely predictable cycle. And from that one simple observation, we get humanity's very first clock. Just think about the breathtaking simplicity of this. Step 1, plant a stick in the ground. Step 2, place a stone right at the tip of its shadow. Step 3, move the mark as the shadow moves. Breathtakingly simple, right? But undeniably brilliant. Minute by minute, that moving shadow told a complete, accurate story without making a single sound. And here is a number that should absolutely blow your mind: 5,000. This brilliant dirt and stick engineering was invented at least 5,000 years before anyone ever even thought to coin the word sundial. Early humans didn't build this in some high-tech laboratory. They built it using the very ground they walked on.
Let's move on and see how this builds in Section 2, the sky's giant clock hand.
So when the sun goes down, obviously, you lose your shadow stick. So how did ancient hunters survive the pitch-black night without getting completely lost in time? Well, they watched the slowly rotating stars. See, the stars don't just sit still up there. They rotate, slowly and entirely predictably, around one fixed point in the night sky. And scattered hunting parties used this fact. They didn't have physical tools in the dark. Instead, they shared this massive mental map of the constellations. They could track the progression of the whole night entirely in their heads just by looking up.
Reading this celestial clock dictated their every single movement. If a hunter looked up and saw that a specific star had barely moved since the last time they checked, well, they knew there was plenty of night left. It was safe to hunker down and wait. But if that star had crossed halfway across the sky, dawn is close. It's time to move.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale of their survival tactics. An entire tribe scattered across a hillside in total pitch darkness could all look up and read the exact same clock. As our source material beautifully puts it, they were tracking a clock with no hands, no numbers, 93 million miles away.
Section 3. Notched bones and lunar months.
Okay, tracking a single night is one thing, right? But to track time across weeks, humans turned to the moon. Its shape-shifting cycle, going from full to shrinking to dark to growing all over again, became humanity's very first calendar. And we actually have incredible physical proof of this. Look at this number, 40,000. Down in Africa, archaeologists discovered the Lebombo bone, which proves that early humans were meticulously tracking time over 40,000 years ago. That is long, long before farming, writing, or cities ever existed.
We're talking about amazing artifacts like the Lebombo bone and the Ishango bone. They're covered in these deliberate notch patterns. And let's be clear, these were absolutely not just random scratches. Someone literally sat down with a bone and a sharp tool and deliberately recorded the lunar cycle, night after night after night. Researchers actually believe this is how early humans tracked pregnancy, measuring the human gestation cycle as 9 moons way before the phrase 9 months was ever spoken. The moon literally gave humanity a sense of the future.
Section 4. Reading seasons and building monuments.
So scaling way up to the macro level, tracking whole years to predict bitter cold or massive animal migrations, early humans used the entire surrounding world as a clock. And this natural schedule was incredibly reliable. We're talking trees blossoming consistently, birds vanishing and reappearing with total consistency, rivers freezing right on schedule, and prey animals migrating predictably year after year. And none of this was written down in a book anywhere. It was memorized. It was passed from elder to child. Basically, it was hardcore survival knowledge disguised perfectly as stories.
Let's just pause on this one beautiful, highly specific quote. When the red berries bloom, the salmon return. Or here's another one. When the geese fly south, prepare for the cold. By intensely observing nature, these generational mantras provided highly reliable, life-saving alarms for early humans. It was like nature's own push notifications.
Over time, this intense observation of the environment evolved into grand engineering. Some groups actually took massive, incredibly heavy stones and positioned them so they would align perfectly with the sunrise on just a single day of the year, the solstice. They engineered stone monuments that were accurate enough to predict a single sunrise every single year for centuries. And they did this thousands of years before a written calendar was a thing.
Section 5. Your internal body clock. Now, what's really interesting about this is when we zoom all the way inward, from those giant ancient stone monuments down to our own microscopic biology, we find the circadian rhythm. Even without the sun, the moon, or the stars, early humans had a clock built directly into their bodies. It's an internal body clock reinforced by sunlight, temperature, and darkness. And honestly, it is exactly why you still get tired or hungry at roughly the same time today, even if you sit all day in an office with no windows and no clocks.
For early humans, this internal rhythm was constantly, intensely reinforced by their wild environment. Their biology was so finely tuned that they would often wake up within minutes of dawn without any external prompts at all. Their bodies weren't just living through time. Their bodies were the clock itself.
And I really have to reiterate the intense stakes of all this. Tracking time was not a quaint, primitive habit. A tribe that misjudged the seasons, they starved. A hunting party that misjudged the stars, they got caught out in the open by predators. A group that missed the animal migrations had absolutely no food for months. A single error in reading these natural clocks meant almost certain death. So, the crucial point is, every single method we've talked about evolved over millennia, from a simple shadow stick around 50,000 BC to a notched bone in 40,000 BC to a massive stone monument in 3000 BC, all the way to the mechanical clocks of the 14th century, and finally to the smartphone sitting in your pocket right now. Every time you check the time on your screen, you are literally using the great-great-great-grandchild of a simple stick stuck in the dirt.
Early humans never had a modern clock, but they had something arguably way more powerful. They had the entire natural world watching, waiting, and ticking right in front of them. Which leaves us with a final, massive question. If they could master time so perfectly, how did early humans find their way across entire continents with no compass, no GPS, and no map at all? That is a fascinating thought to leave you with today. Keep learning, keep questioning, and thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.